You do not have to wait for someone to mistreat you 10 times before you believe them. And if you're seeing red flags in the beginning of a relationship, that is the relationship. You don't need to wait for more proof. You don't need to hope it gets better. You don't need to wait until your self-esteem is shattered to finally believe what you already know in your gut. You can walk away right now, and I'm going to tell you how to recognize when that moment has come, the moment when it's time to just stop giving someone the benefit of the doubt, stop making excuses, and just get out. Because a lot of people, especially many of us with childhood trauma, were conditioned to ignore warning signs. Now, you may even feel attracted to those warning signs, and if that's you, no shame, but this video is for you. So let's talk about what to look for when you're dating someone new. I'm going to give you 3 powerful categories of red flags, and if you see these signs early on, you run. All right, number 1, they're unavailable. And this is one of the most common patterns I hear from people, especially people who were emotionally neglected as kids. So you meet someone and they're amazing, and you're telling your friends, oh, we just clicked, or I've never felt this way before. But then the facts start coming in, and they don't quite add up. You ask if they're single, and one time they say yes, and a different time they say it's complicated. Or they tell you that they're divorced, but they're not actually divorced, they're separated. Or maybe they're still living with their ex. And you're supposed to believe that it's just for the kids, or it's for the mortgage, or the health insurance, or the dog. Or they're not living with their ex, but they're still talking about them constantly. They're tangled up in legal battles, or emotional drama, or toxic stories. And every conversation seems to come back to their ex. You end up being a sounding board for all their unresolved garbage from their last relationship. You ask where they live, and they're vague, right? Has that ever happened? It's not clear if they're in transition, or they're lying, or if you're ever actually going to see their home. This is not the beginning of a great love story. This is a person who is not available. And here's the rule. If someone isn't available at the beginning, they're not going to become available later. In fact, it usually gets worse. All right, the second category of red flags is they are manipulative. And this one is tricky because it doesn't always look like manipulation at first. So let's say they start talking about other people they've slept with. They drop little references to their past hookups or ongoing situationships. Maybe they mention an ex they still talk to sometimes, or a friend they once dated but now just have a special connection with. They make you feel like you're the one being insecure if you question it, if you want to know, wait a minute, what exactly is this relationship? And when you try to talk about your boundaries, they get annoyed. You're being too intense. You're ruining the vibe. You're being very expectations-y. Maybe they say they want to see you and they even pick a weekend, but then they don't follow up, or they keep you waiting, or they cancel at the last minute again and again. And somehow you end up feeling like the needy one for expecting them to show up when they said they would show up. They joke about being in love with you, haha, and then 5 minutes later they say they just want to be friends. They talk to you like you're their soulmate one day, and they ignore your texts the next day. This roller coaster, it's not romantic, is it? It's not passion. It's not just chemistry. It's control. They're controlling you, and they're keeping you off balance. And that's not an accident, because if you're confused, you're easier to manipulate. You're more likely to ignore your gut, and you're more likely to stick around so that they can have what they want, despite your needs being ignored or trampled. And that's exactly how trauma bonding begins. All right, the third category of red flag is they have flags that are not just red, they're screaming red alert, right? And this is the easiest to spot, but somehow it's the easiest to go into denial about. The red alert category. These are the signs that would make any bystander say, that's not normal. But when you're the one in it, you try to explain it away. That's a trauma symptom, by the way. They're rude to waiters. They yell at drivers in traffic. They snap at the cashier at the grocery store. Or worse, they're rough with animals. Oh, that's a bad sign. They make mean jokes about vulnerable people, and somehow you laugh along, and even though you feel sick inside, you just go along with it and you don't fight back. So they interpret that as permission. They ask to borrow money. They need money like right now. They've got a sob story or a situation or a big opportunity, and somehow you feel like you're the only person who understands them. Or they show up drunk or high, or they start acting strange during the date. Their stories don't quite make sense. But, they're charming, they're good looking, and you don't want to seem uptight, so you let it go. Then one day, they lie. Maybe it's something small, a white lie about a dinner bill. They don't correct the server when they're undercharged. Or they ask you to help them deceive someone. Can you just say we're friends if my ex calls? Or can you say that you're my employer, I'm applying for unemployment? Or can you pretend I wasn't here? This is not just bad behavior, this is a character problem. And if they're willing to lie to other people, don't fall into the trap of thinking, oh, you're in on their little secret, you guys are a little twosome, because they will lie to you. Now, if you stay, you become complicit, not because you're a bad person, but because it feels easier to stay than to face the truth. But the truth is where your freedom starts. Truth is the only place anything good ever happens. It's where love happens. So why do we miss these red flags? Let's be honest. Most of us have missed these signs before, and there is a reason for that. If you grew up with emotional neglect, abuse, or inconsistency, you may have learned early to override your instincts. You might have internalized the idea that love is supposed to feel like anxiety, that attraction feels like drama, that connection requires you to work for it. It's a lot of work. So when someone shows you inconsistency, you call it mystery. And when someone shows you disrespect, you call it, edginess. And when someone is emotionally unavailable, you feel the thrill of the chase, and you mistake that for chemistry. And it's not your fault. People who were traumatized as children often struggle with dysregulation and this kind of misappropriation of attachment to somebody who's not a good person to attach to. When your attachment wounds are active, when you're dysregulated, your nervous system is on high alert. You're flooded. You can't think clearly. You can't trust what you feel. You're glitching. Your judgment isn't there for you. So you might tell yourself, oh gosh, I'm just being dramatic, I should stop, or I must be scared of intimacy. That's why I'm creating a fuss about their behavior. And you ignore your gut and you talk yourself into staying. But the truth is, you don't need to be perfect to see red flags. You just need to trust yourself. So how to start seeing red flags clearly? Well, there are 3 things you can do. One is you can use tools that help you clear away all the false evidence appearing real, the fear, the resentful thoughts and feelings that are there that tend to clutter our minds, especially if you grow up with trauma. Because remember, those of us who were neglected or abused as kids, we sustain an injury to our ability to process thoughts and feelings. They get jammed up. It's like a beaver dam in there. It's just like a big cluster of gunk of thoughts and feelings that are about things that happened a long time ago, but they're still bouncing around. They're still giving us adrenaline and cortisol and keeping us up at night. And when some new information comes in, it seems subtle. There's so much noise in there that the new information, the new red flag that's going, hey, this person right in front of you right now, you're not detecting it. So to get clear, there needs to be a way to facilitate processing of those thoughts and feelings. The thing that I've always used, the thing that saved my life, are these twin techniques I call the daily practice. It's a very specific writing technique followed by a very simple meditation done twice a day to just like take a shower, just give your mind a shower, get that old stuff just kind of washed away so that you have a little bit of fresh awareness, a little ability to perceive and detect and discern what is going on with this person. And can you trust them? And are they the right ones? And so in my techniques, all you need is like paper and a pen. And I teach that in a free course that you can download. There's always a link down in the description section. It's the second link. So you can check that out. It's also in my book, Re-Regulated. So I teach people these techniques. Hey, I've got a quick invite for you. I made a free daily practice course that shows you 2 simple techniques to calm the storm when you're triggered inside. It's short, it's powerful, and it helps you feel clearer, more focused, and more at ease, fast. Click the second link in the description section below, or use the QR code right there, and you can start your course right away. I think about 1 million people have learned them from me, literally. And lots of them are continuing to do it twice a day and experiencing change, because this is a habit where you can face and name and release just the jammed up thoughts and feelings that have been held in there for so long. When that is released, there really is more mental space, more clarity, more ability to notice things about other people, like, well, this is a good quality, this one not so much. And what do I think about that? How do I feel about that? Your awareness of those things is so precious to your healing, and also critical to be able to form a healthy relationship. So when you have learned to re-regulate your nervous system, and this is the daily practice is a way to do that, but when you learn to re-regulate, your thinking clears up. Your gut comes back online to talk to you about good impressions, bad impressions, and you can see what's happening. And you can, instead of reacting, you can respond. All right, the second thing you can do, make an assessment of your past relationships. So like in my Real Love coaching program that we have, or in my dating course, right? We walk you through this in detail, and you look back on the people that you were drawn to and what traits attracted you and who hurt you and who ended up being safe for you. So you can start to connect the dots on what were you shown in advance about people you could trust and those you couldn't, right? You identify the patterns. You stop pretending that your pain was just bad luck or you're just a weak person. There's a pattern there. There's information. All right, the third thing you can do is use tools. Use tools to ask yourself the right questions to help you discern. So you can ask yourself, what did I ignore? What am I avoiding? What did I feel in my body when that person said one thing and did another? And you can match this up to your relationship history that you've just done. What red flags were visible from the start, just you weren't able to see them yet? When you make the unconscious conscious, you regain your power. Now, let me say it again. You don't need a dramatic reason to leave. You don't have to prove anything. You don't have to wait for them to do something really, really bad. You don't have to wait for them to end it or try to make them so mad they do that. If it feels off, if the patterns are there, you can trust yourself and you can just walk away. You don't owe anyone your time. You don't owe anybody your energy. You don't owe them anything. You owe yourself a life that's free from chaos. Hey, it's me, and real fast, if you're watching my videos and wondering if maybe past trauma is having an effect on your life today, I want to share with you a list of signs that what you're struggling with now might be connected with neglect or abuse in your childhood. It's good to know this because it can help you know that what's hard for you right now is normal and that healing is possible. You can download my Signs of Childhood PTSD quiz by clicking the top link in the description section below or using that QR code right there. So run, don't explain. If they show you a red flag, believe it. Don't go into detective mode. Don't get curious about their trauma and try to explain it away. Don't try to fix them or make them read a book or go to therapy. That's not your job. You just met them. That's not love, by the way. That's codependency. So you don't need to slam the door or make a dramatic exit or yell at them. You can just leave. You can block their number. You can move on. You can write your fears and resentments, then meditate and get re-regulated. And then you can begin to do the work to choose differently next time. And this is what it means to live like someone who's healing. You're not waiting to be rescued. You're not begging to be chosen. You're not hanging on for dear life to somebody who's just making you miserable. You're watching, you're listening, and you're choosing. And when the signs are there, when your gut says no, you run. Does the fear of abandonment or of being alone cause you to stay in negative relationships? Staying way past when we wanted to leave But the thought of leaving was unbearable.